Hello, I'm Christina with the Turned Leg, and it is a chilly spring day in Michigan. It is maybe barely 40, if that yet, and I don't care. I'm ready for spring. I have a really fun spring project that I want to do in my junk garden. I do have a few videos here if you want to check out what my junk garden has looked like in the past, but I can't get to the back of my garage, and that's where I need to get so I can work on a really fun spring project. So today, my goal is this: how many of these projects can I tackle and get ready and get them into my vintage and antique booth? So wish me luck today. So this is what we're working with, and seriously, the best way to get started is just to get started. Some things out. These are the items that are ready to go to the mall. They should be tagged and priced. So they shouldn't be in my storage. They should be at the antique mall. This piece needs, obviously, check her out, full overhaul. Somebody put spray paint. Yep. Spray paint all over this pretty piece. And we're losing veneer, but they're beautiful details. Beautiful French provincial. I'm hoping I can save her. I do have the other drawer. I'm having a hard time getting the hardware off, so I got as much as I could the last time I tried to work on her, but that's the drawer over there. That little white table is not sturdy. I don't know if I can make it sturdy. It's pretty much good as is, but it's really unstable. These are both upholstery jobs. Very easy, but I need some fabric, and then I need to shine them up. This is a total overhaul. I do like the tidy whities, but I'm not going to keep it. Someone did a cute little job, or a kid, on this, but this is a beautiful bones, nice piece. I really want to save it. The chair back there that needs a total overhaul, so if I have time to paint. This chair's in pretty good shape. It might not look like it. I always keep, there's another chair back there. I always keep 2 chairs in here, so I have them for pieces. I also have a dresser I don't know if I'm going to get to. This is a beauty. It needs a paint job. Just trust me on it. It's a paint. There's also a piece under here that is a paint, and that's a spare chair. These are additional school desks that I don't need in my booth right now, so they're fine where they are. What I need to get to is back there behind good old Santa, who's staying in storage. Those small projects right here are what I'm going to work on my Facebook Live. If you like to see what I'm up to with my projects, I save usually smaller pieces to work on Facebook Live. I'm usually live, at least at the time of this recording, at 8:30 Eastern on Facebook page, The Turned Leg, but you can also catch it on replay. And then these 2 pieces, I think, just have to be polished up and checked. So looking around here, I think I have some quick projects I can weed out. This table I need to investigate. This piece is wobbly, and most of the time it just needs to be tightened. I'm going to check that out. I didn't paint this piece. I got it this way, but I kind of like how it's looking, so I'm not planning on touching anything, and frankly, I don't have time. Let's see if I can fix it. I am amazed how many projects get thrown out when they just need to be tightened up. Now the test if it's stable. Ugh. Okay, there's still screws at the top. I'm going to adjust those, and I think we're going to be good. Phew. And this is a perfect spring day in Michigan. No, but I got to get it done, and the sun is at least out. So I'm going to work until I'm too cold. Next on the agenda is sanding, because I got to get all the dust particles out of the way before I start making the pretty ones pretty. We don't want to ruin them. The first step for any project is removing the hardware, and this project is definitely gonna fight back. I also found tons of veneer. Luckily, the veneer could just peel off easily. I don't think I'm gonna remove it all, though I do have a video if you want to check it out on how to remove veneer. I'll put it up here.
Instead, I'm going to try something else. There was even veneer inside of the drawer that I had to remove, but I really got lucky with it coming off so easily.
So as I'm removing the hardware, I have to show you something. The first one broke off, and I was like, well, okay, it was old, right? The second one, I saw like a hairline crack that looked like it had been glued. Seriously, they've glued broken hardware back on this piece. These are the moments where I start doubting. Like, why do I do this? Look at this. And here's a guide rail, like for the side, like what would be in here. That needs to be reattached somewhere. Hopefully I can find it. Oh, I want to save it. Well, I think I found the problem. Look at the glue marks. I think they used like wood glue. Well, they used it horribly, but I'm not even sure like what these strips are for. Seriously. Like they're not holding the drawer together. I don't know. They put it in and they didn't clean it. They've even glued like something down from like a newspaper in the corners. I think I can cut it and make it look pretty, but my concern is look down here. It's near the hardware again. Oh.
I did get the hardware off, but this piece was not going to be an easy flip. I had my work cut out for me. I'm going to see how much I can kind of reclaim just with a sanding. I started with 220 grit and ended up going down to an 80 grit to try to get off all the old veneer and just the yuckiness. And I also found where the drawer slide would need to be reattached.
This piece is fighting me hard. You're not going to believe what I've seen. I mean, you saw the hardware, you've seen the veneer, you've seen the paint issues, you've seen, and why do I keep going? Because I really want to save this, but let me show you what I got going on now. So I was just sanding this drawer, and actually this drawer is in pretty good shape, but watch this. Yep, all the veneer is coming off, so more veneer issues.
And here's how she looks after sanding. You can also see I peeled off the veneer that was coming off the front of the drawer. But let's start working on another piece. And this piece probably needs just as much, if not more work, than the other one. Once again, I'm starting with a light sand just to see how much is going to come off. This piece was spray painted over its original finish and then maybe kept in a really warm location because the spray paint peels off. And in fact, it's peeling off the veneer in spots too. So I'm going to try to get as much off as I can. And as you can tell, I got a lot, and then figure out what to do next. I think the next step is to try to get some paint on this piece just to see what I have to work with. I am using DIY Debbie's Design Diary paint because it sticks to everything. It is the best base coat, easy coverage, and just so amazing. If you've never heard of this paint, you have to check it out. I have lots of tutorial videos here on how to use this paint, but there's no prep needed. Just paint and go. And the coverage is just amazing. I'm not really painting this as a final coat right now. I'm just putting down a base coat to kind of see what I have to work with. I'm also using my FIFO bottle so I can just squeeze and go. It makes painting so easy. If you're looking for any paint or products, you can get them on my website at shoptheturnedleg.com. Switching gears back to the other dresser, yep, veneer is still coming off, and I pulled those pieces off, got off what I could, and it's time for paint. But once again, I'm using Eden from DIY Paint. This is the good stuff, and I'm just going to kind of bring it back to life a little bit and see what I'm working with. And if you ever find some paint on a pretty piece of furniture, I have a secret tip for you. I always use the magic eraser. It is amazing what it can remove. This is great for anyone to have in their stash. And then we're going to polish this up. I know it's missing the one piece of hardware. It is in the drawer, but this is going to be an easy fix. I'm going to use one of my favorite products, Howard's Feed and Wax, and I will put an Amazon link in the description below if you want to pick yourself up some. I just wipe this on, I wait 15 minutes, and I wipe it back. You can apply more coats as needed, but this just freshens it all up, and then it doesn't dinge after time. It's going to keep this glow and really revive the piece and hide scratches. The first day is done. I got a lot done. I'm gonna have to show you all the things I finished because I'm actually quite pleased. I got interrupted. I had to pick up my daughter early from school. My mom needed my help, you know, life. So I thought I would have this like solid chunk of time. It didn't happen. That is life, and I am so lucky to do this job because if life needs me, I can kind of take a break and pick up where I left off. So I'll be picking up tomorrow, but let me take you around and show you what I did. I'm quite pleased. I know the paint pieces still need a lot of work, and I'm going to do it all tomorrow. And I know there are issues. I know this is kind of counterintuitive, but I'm actually going to go back and resand tomorrow. There's a few spots like here. Debbie's Design Diary paint, because it does not self-level, can actually fill in small holes. So I'm going to sand again before I do the second coat. If I need to patch, I will do it. I know it's horrible with light because the sun's getting ready to set and all, but it's looking so much better. And this is my finished pile. Well, no, okay, so I got to upholster those pieces. You guys are getting me with the shadow. So I'm going to take those in. Maybe I can do those tonight while I'm inside. All of this can go to the mall. That table is fixed. I also have this piece is done and ready to go. I just shined her up. I mean, there's imperfections, but she's an antique. That piece I think I can shine up tonight still. So I'm going to shine that up the same way, and that'll be ready. So these two pieces will be done. So will the white piece. That's good because I just got a call that a big table sold. Let me show you this one. This I'm quite pleased. So I got off all the veneer around the edge mostly. There's still a little bit more I got to go back and get. My neighbor actually had insulation getting blown into her house. And so while I was refinishing furniture, insulation was blowing into my backyard. I had some clamping and repairs I had to do, but I got a base coat on. The drawers are another story. The drawers are not just going to be saved with paint. They need some patching. I might need to do Bondo, but that'll be tomorrow thing. If I Bondo over the front to patch them real good, I should be able to sand them down, but I'll need some dry time. And then I need hardware for this piece. That chair might wait, and the other pieces, I think I might wait because actually, like, look, you guys, you can see the back of my garage, and that's the area I need to get to, and it's totally doable. I move the wheelbarrow, and I can do it. It is day 2, and the plan was to just keep working on projects outside, but you know things never go as planned, and as a booth owner, you have to be flexible. So yesterday, I sold a big dining room table in my booth. So grateful for that. But that means more work. I also got a message from the antique mall saying, your booth's kind of a mess. So you might want to get down here and, you know, straighten things up. They kind of know how I am. Luckily, I got a bunch of those pieces done yesterday. So my car is loaded up. I'm going to take all of those that I got done yesterday. I'm going to put them in my booth. I'll take you guys along so you can see. And then the plan is to come back and continue working. So I'm not complaining, and if there's music, just ignore it. I'll try to turn up my voice. But I came in and I sold the table here. In fact, there was a whole how-to of how I did it, but so excited. I got to meet the lady that got it. I got more work to do, but I am not complaining. Flexibility is an important skill as a booth owner, and you really can never plan on what you're going to be doing every second of the day. I added this little table because tables and desks have been really good in that area. I restaged it. I moved things around. You always want to try to keep your booth looking as nice as possible. And it is amazing what a quick refresh of your space can do for your business. I got all that work done at the mall, and then I had to pick up my kid earlier than expected, and the neighbor had construction next door in my driveway. So I am just getting started. I don't know how much I'm going to get done. That dresser back there has the really messed up drawers, and I'm going to patch the drawers and just let them dry in the sun. It's a beautiful day. I'm going to show you how I patch drawers that are really bad. I use a product called Bondo. If you're using Bondo, make sure you have the right gear. Make sure you're working outdoors. This stuff's nothing to fool with, but it really will work when you need more than just patch. It's what they use to patch cars. Mix up equal parts of Bondo and the cream hardener, and then work quickly. It's not going to be necessarily pretty because it dries quick, but get her down, and then you can sand. And while that was drying, I decided to sand the other piece that I was working on. Remember, it was kind of just a base coat to try to fill in things and see really where the damage was. I also had a whole side here I didn't paint, which I had to do. When I sanded it down, it really smoothed things. I also found a few issues I had to deal with. There's always more than you expect. So now it's time for the second coat. Using DIY paint is just, oh, so simple, and it goes on so smooth. This is Prom Queen again for the second coat, although really in some spots it is the first coat again. And I really was getting a nice smooth finish using, of course, a little bit water from the Water Girl Fine Mist spray bottle. The patching was dry and it was time to sand and then put on the first coat of paint for these. I'm using 220 grit sandpaper and now I'm applying DIY paint in crinoline. Once again, this base coat is going to kind of fill in some of the sins of the dresser because it's so thick, but it's also going to show me areas that I might need to give a little bit more attention to. It's day 3, and I just wanted to show you some of the treasures I found this morning. This cute little bench, yep, it needs a little bit of work, so I'm adding it to my project pile. I think I'm going to do it on my live, and then I have a special surprise in my car, so stay tuned to see that. Little George is joining me outside today. The patching did a good job, but I still got some bumps, so I'm actually going to have to sand a little bit better, repatch, see what I can do. I mean, I could decoupage, but I'd rather not. So first thing I'm going to do is sand these down. After sanding was complete, it was going to be time to add paint. Always sand and then paint so you don't get dust everywhere. Adding a little bit more Eden DIY paint, second coat to kind of the frame. And boy, I am loving this color. If you haven't tried it, you really need to check it out. It's a real relaxing color. Also painted the drawers again with another coat of crinoline. They're looking so much better. Now I'm going to turn my attention to the top of this piece. It is really in rough shape, so I'm going to use a dark color to kind of cover up. My original intent here was to use DIY paint weathered wood as a stain. Because the paints are so heavily pigmented, you can actually really water them down and use them as stain. And weathered wood is a really good dark color stain. But this piece just wasn't working as a stain. I needed full coverage, so I started a little bit and I realized, you know what, it's going to be fine with full strength paint, so I just kept painting from there. The piece is looking really good. I'm loving weathered wood as a top coat on this. It's really going to be pretty. What is not looking good are the clouds. Yeah, we're supposed to have really bad storms today, and I need to get cleaned up and get inside. Luckily, the storms did not last all day, and in a little bit it had cleared up, so I brought the piece back out and got back to work. I decided I was going to do a light distress. I like the distressed look. I know not everyone's crazy about it, but it's really a nice look for a vintage piece. So I'm using a 220 grit sandpaper. I am just going to sand back the DIY paint, and I'm really liking the white from underneath showing too. It kind of ties in with the drawers. So this is how it's looking, and it's time to seal this piece. For the top of the piece, I'm going to use DIY Big Top. It is a great liquid top coat, all natural, no nasty fumes, and it seals amazing. It is non-yellowing. I'm also going to use on the frame of the piece DIY clear wax. This stuff is amazing. If you need more help on any top coats, you can check out this video here, but literally you just rub it on. You're also going to notice how it deepens the color and brings the whole piece back to life. You do need 2 coats of both to finish your piece, and then you just need to let it dry. Remember, the old hardware was in bad shape, so I did add new hardware to this piece, and I'm really liking how it's turning out.
I thought I would pop on and kind of explain how things are going and what I'm doing and why. I had those two dressers, the green and the blue, and they were just a ton of work. There was just so much to do. Trying to do them both at the same time was just way too much for me. So I decided I would just focus my energy on one at a time and get them done, because there's so many little things, and as you're working on them, you see another problem or something you have to fix. So I'm feeling really good about that green piece now. It just has to dry. It's completely sealed. It's completely painted. It has to dry. I got to clean out the drawers. I got to put hardware on it and buff it, and then it'll be ready to go to the mall. And if you can believe it, yesterday's furniture that I added to my booth sold today. So it's good I'm getting these ready because I'm gonna need it. My delay today, but there was also bad weather too, so it worked out fine, was that I happened to have a Hoosier that I had just picked in my car when they called and said stuff sold, and I'm like, you know what? I will take it in and just see if I can get a parking space, and if the mall is not too busy, and it wasn't. And also if the Hoosier, I hadn't even cleaned it yet, so I took it to the mall, I cleaned it there, it was in excellent shape. So now that's in the mall. And you know, it's the life of a booth owner. You have all these plans. You just have to like figure it out and do things with priorities. Priorities is always keeping the booth stocked. So yeah, I'm feeling good about it. I've been selling just so much furniture, and almost all the projects I said I were gonna do are done. That one chair is just gonna have to wait, that we talked about at the very beginning, because I am not gonna get to it. And I hate painting chairs. So I'm hoping by the end of the video I can get this blue dresser done, but we will see. So tonight I'm exhausted. I'm gonna go in and relax a little bit. It is also sweltering, so my cheeks are red because I've been working hard, but it is also, can you believe it's like 80 degrees? Not too long ago I was on here like shivering and my hands were cold, and yeah, I hope spring is really here. I took the green dresser and the little like mid-century step stool to my booth, and they're priced. Whew! So a few more projects done. Now I'm gonna work on the blue dresser. I'm gonna dedicate 100% of my energy to it. I think I'm gonna do a blended paint finish around the edges, and I'll show you how easy it is.
DIY paint and DIY brushes were just made for blending. The clay in the paint makes this so simple. You also need a little bit of water. I'm using Hey Sailor and Prom Queen. You're going to see a little bit of white on my palette. That is beadboard, but I ended up really not using it. I was able to get the whole look with only 2 colors, and it is just so simple. There are more videos here on my channel if you need more help with blending. I have finally finished this piece, and I have to say I didn't think it would ever get there. And it's so funny when you refinish furniture, the stages that you go through, the like, it's horrible, it's crap, everything is wrong, I should throw it out, there's nothing I can do to save it. And then when you finally like recapture it, you're like, oh my gosh, this wasn't that bad. I was cleaning out the drawers and I'm like, they're amazing. All they needed was a good wipe down. I'm so glad. It's just so funny. I will say the most important thing I did was, because both of those dressers just required so much. Focusing on one thing at a time sometimes is a good idea. I mean, multitasking is great, and a lot of times I can work on a couple of projects at once. When something is drying, I move on to the next, but I just had too much to do. Really need to wrap up this video so I can get it out to all of you. I'm not sure if I'm gonna get the other little stool recovered, but it's an easy job. If I do, I'll slide it in here so you can see. It might just have to wait for just a little bit. Today is actually Easter Sunday. So I am done with projects for the day. I'm going to enjoy the day with my family. I am so pleased. I got so many projects done. I'm going to kind of recap them, so stay tuned for that. You can see what the total projects completed were. I did get that little white step stool completed on my Monday morning live right after Easter, and I was able to paint it and get it popped into my booth on Wednesday. So super quick turnaround, and it also has sold. In fact, I'm going to give you an update on all the projects I completed and some of them that have already sold. As I mentioned in my last video, what sells? Furniture has just been crazy hot. So me clearing out my garage was a really good idea because I needed to get those projects done just so I could get them in my booth to sell, right? Good thing. So for now, my booth is totally stocked. And do you remember that I had that other little bench piece. It's actually a little seat for a vanity. I just found a vanity curbside. So I'm kind of glad I didn't finish that piece because I'm going to pair them together and match them and really make them a beautiful set. So sometimes things just work out. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it has inspired you to finish your projects. I needed to get to the back of my garage because I have a special project I want to work on. I might take you along. I might need your help because I'm doing something I've never done before. It's more junk garden than business related, so stay tuned for that. Let's take a look at the projects I did finish and what has sold. Thank you so much for joining me. You guys inspire me so very much, and you help me get all of my projects and all of my stuff done. I hope I can also do the same for you. Now get out there to salvage, repurpose, and create.